He had forgotten the date his world ended, and the day his son was born, until a knock at the door arrived with a truth so sharp it would cut through every billion he owned. If you're drawn to stories that leave a mark, consider subscribing before this one begins. The penthouse was quiet in the way only money could buy. Not peaceful, never that, but sealed. Vacuumed of noise, insulated from consequence. 47 floors above the city, Elliot Cross stood barefoot on heated marble, watching dawn smear pale gold across the skyline. His reflection hovered in the glass like a stranger who'd learned his posture but not his soul. He sipped espresso he hadn't tasted. The calendar on his phone pulsed once, silently, then went dark as the screen timed out. No alerts, no reminders, no balloons or confetti icons. Just another Thursday in a life where days had lost their names. Behind him, the apartment breathed. Low hum of climate control, the whisper click of automated blinds, the distant thrum of traffic reduced to vibration. Everything worked. Everything always did. Elliot adjusted his cufflinks. Platinum, minimalist, forgettable, and reached for his suit jacket. The fabric was tailored to the millimeter, cut to project authority without arrogance. He had a board meeting at 9, a merger call at 11, lunch with a senator who needed funding and would pretend not to. His assistant had left the itinerary printed on the kitchen island, aligned with obsessive precision. Elliot didn't read it. He already knew the shape of the day. Control, distance, results. What he didn't know, what he had not known for years, was what day it was. Down the hall, a door remained closed. Had always been closed. Elliot passed it on his way out, as he did every morning. He didn't look at it. He never did. The door was white, unmarked, identical to the others. If a guest asked, he said it was storage. If he was alone, he told himself it was nothing. Sometimes late at night he imagined sounds behind it. Cough. Laugh. A small voice mispronouncing his name. He told himself imagination was weakness. The elevator ride down was silent, mirrored walls multiplying him into infinity. Dozens of Elliots, all standing straight, all expressionless. When the doors opened, the doorman greeted him by name. Outside, his driver waited beside the black sedan. Door already open. "Good morning, sir." Elliot nodded and slid inside. The city moved past the tinted windows like a film he'd seen too many times. He checked emails, signed documents digitally, approved a layoff with a thumbprint. At a red light, a child crossed the street holding his mother's hand. The boy skipped, nearly losing his grip, laughing at nothing. Elliot's gaze followed them longer than necessary. He looked away first. Across the city, in a part of town Elliot never drove through, Noah Cross sat on the edge of a narrow bed, feet not quite touching the floor. The apartment smelled like burned toast and old paint. Morning light leaked through a cracked blind, striping the walls in tired yellow. A single balloon, blue, half deflated, bumped gently against the ceiling fan. Noah wore his school uniform, too short in the sleeves. His shoes were clean but worn thin at the heels. On the bed beside him sat a small cupcake in a clear plastic container, the kind from a corner shop. One candle leaned crooked in the frosting. He was 9 today. His mother, Lena, stood in the doorway tying her hair back, already dressed for work. Her eyes flicked to the cupcake, then away too quickly. "I'll light it later," she said, forcing brightness. "After school. We'll do it properly." Noah nodded. He was good at nodding. Good at pretending things didn't matter. "Do you think," he asked carefully, "he remembers?" Lena's hands stilled. She crossed the room and knelt in front of him, smoothing his collar like she used to when he was smaller. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "He's very busy," she said. "Important people forget things." Noah considered this. "I wouldn't forget," he said. "I know." She kissed his forehead, lingering a second too long. "I have to go. Mrs. Alvarez will walk you to school." After she left, Noah sat alone with a balloon ticking above him, the cupcake sweating sugar onto plastic. He didn't cry. He hadn't cried in years. Instead, he reached under his pillow and pulled out an envelope. Inside was a piece of paper, folded and refolded until the creases had gone soft. An address was written in careful block letters, copied from a document he wasn't supposed to see. At the bottom, in a child's uneven handwriting, were 3 words. Just one time. By evening, Elliot returned to the penthouse with the same efficiency he'd left with. The day had gone well. Numbers aligned. People deferred. The senator had smiled too much. His driver wished him a good night. Inside, the lights rose automatically. The apartment welcomed him like a loyal servant. Elliot loosened his tie, poured himself a drink he wouldn't finish, and stood again by the window. The city glittered now. Thousands of lives stacked on top of one another, birthdays and funerals and ordinary Thursdays happening all at once. Somewhere below, fireworks cracked. A celebration, maybe. Or just noise. Elliot frowned, irritated by a sudden, unplaceable pressure in his chest. The sound was soft, light, almost hesitant. No one ever knocked. Elliot turned slowly toward the door, glass still in his hand. The pressure in his chest tightened, as if something long dormant had stirred. The knock came again. And this time, for reasons he couldn't explain, Elliot Cross already knew. Whatever waited on the other side had not come for his money. It had come for what he forgot. The knock came a third time, firmer now, as if whoever stood outside had gathered courage from the silence. Elliot set the glass down without finishing the drink. The whiskey trembled once, then stilled. He didn't call security. He didn't check the monitor. He moved toward the door as if pulled by something older than logic, something buried beneath contracts and quarterly forecasts. When he opened it, the hallway light spilled in first, flat, unforgiving. Then he saw the boy. He was small for his age, standing straight anyway, backpack straps clutched tight in both hands. His hair was dark, unevenly cut, and his eyes. Elliot's breath caught at those eyes, with the same gray-blue he saw every morning in the mirror. Not exactly the same. Softer. Braver. For a long second, neither of them spoke. The hallway smelled faintly of cleaning solution and rain. Somewhere far below, a siren wailed and faded. "Hi," the boy said. His voice didn't shake. That, more than anything, unsettled Elliot. "Yes," Elliot replied, automatically the word sharp, professional. He was already reaching for distance, for authority. "Who are you?" The boy swallowed. His fingers tightened on the straps. "My name is Noah," he said. I'm looking for Elliot Cross." Elliot felt an absurd flash of irritation. Security should have stopped this. He glanced down the hall, then back at the boy. Too clean to be a scam. Too nervous. Too real. "You found him," Elliot said. "And you shouldn't be here." Noah nodded, as if he'd expected that answer. He reached into his backpack, slow, careful, like a peace offering, and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "I just wanted to give you this." Elliot didn't take it. "What is it?" he asked. Noah unfolded the paper anyway. It was a card, cheap construction paper blue. Inside, written in uneven pencil, were 4 words. "Happy birthday, Dad." The hallway seemed to tilt. Elliot laughed once, short and hollow. "This isn't funny," he said, though no one was laughing. "You've made a mistake." Noah looked down at the card, then back up. "It's today," he said quietly. "September 19th. You were born at 3:12 a.m. My mom told me." Elliot's throat tightened. That information wasn't public. He felt suddenly exposed, like someone had reached inside his chest and touched a nerve he'd cauterized years ago. "I don't have children," Elliot said. The lie came easily. Too easily. Noah nodded again. He did that a lot, Elliot noticed. Like someone used to answers that didn't change anything. "My birthday is today too," Noah said. "I'm 9. Silence rushed in, thick and heavy. Elliot became acutely aware of the boy's shoes. Scuffed, the laces frayed. The faint bruise on his wrist, yellowing at the edges. The way his shoulders were set, like he was bracing for impact. This is inappropriate, Elliot said, but his voice lacked conviction. Who sent you? No one, Noah replied. I came by myself. Took the bus. 3 of them. That was irresponsible, Elliot snapped, then stopped. The word echoed back at him, distorted. Noah's mouth pressed into a thin line. I know. Elliot ran a hand through his hair. His pulse hammered in his ears. Listen, he said, lowering his voice. Whatever you think you know. I know you used to live on Cedar Street, Noah interrupted gently. Apartment 3B. You had a red mug that said World's Okayest, Dad. You left it behind. Elliot staggered back half a step. Noah took that as permission and stepped forward, just inside the doorway. The penthouse swallowed him, all glass and chrome and echo. He looked around, eyes wide but not impressed. It's big, he said. Mom says you're very important. Elliot closed the door behind him without meaning to. The click sounded final. Your mother, Elliot said carefully. What is her name? Noah hesitated. She said I shouldn't say it unless you asked nicely. Elliot exhaled sharply through his nose. Please. Noah searched his face, weighing something. Then, Lena. The name hit like a physical blow. Memories surged. Cheap wine, laughter in a kitchen too small, arguments whispered after midnight. A woman standing in a doorway, hand on her stomach, eyes blazing with hurt and resolve. Elliot turned away. This was a mistake, he said. You need to go home. Noah's eyes glistened, but his voice stayed steady. I just wanted you to remember, he said. You forgot last year. And the year before that. Mom said you were busy, but I thought maybe if you saw me. He trailed off. Elliot faced him again. Remember what? Noah lifted the card, his small fingers smudging the pencil lines. That I'm your son. The words settled between them, fragile and irrevocable. Elliot felt something crack, not open, not healing, just splitting under pressure. He looked at the boy standing in his immaculate home, carrying the weight of 9 forgotten years, and understood with sudden, brutal clarity. This moment would change everything. And nothing. Outside, the city kept breathing, unaware that a birthday had come and gone, and that a door once opened could never be closed the same way again. Elliot did not invite Noah to sit. The boy remained standing just inside the penthouse, backpack still on his shoulders, as if he might need to leave at any second. Elliot moved first, slowly, deliberately, crossing the space to the kitchen island, putting distance between them. Control required space. Your mother is mistaken, Elliot said, pouring another drink he also wouldn't finish. His hands were steady. That mattered. People misunderstand things. Time blurs memories. Noah watched him from across the marble floor. She kept the letters, he said. The ones you sent before I was born. Elliot's fingers stilled around the glass. She didn't read them to me, Noah added quickly. I found them. In a box. She tried to throw them away once. Elliot stared at the amber liquid, at his reflection warped in the curved crystal. Letters. He remembered writing them late at night, telling himself it was closure, that words could replace presence. How many? Elliot asked despite himself. 17, Noah said. I counted. The answer was too precise. Elliot closed his eyes for half a second. When he opened them, Noah was closer, not physically, but in a way that made the air feel thin. You can't just show up here, Elliot said. You don't understand what you're asking. I'm not asking for anything, Noah replied. I already asked. A long time ago. That stung more than anger would have. Elliot turned away, pacing toward the window. Below, traffic crawled like veins of light. If anyone finds out, he began, then stopped. He didn't finish the sentence because the truth was uglier than the threat. It wasn't scandal he feared. It was exposure. Noah shifted his weight. Mom said you'd be mad. I'm not mad, Elliot said too quickly. Yes, you are, Noah said, not unkindly. But you're also scared. Elliot laughed, sharp and humorless. You're very perceptive for a child. Noah shrugged. You learn things when people don't talk to you. Silence settled again, heavier this time. Elliot noticed the boy's hands. Small, nicked with old cuts. He imagined them learning to tie shoelaces, to write letters, to wait. Did she send you for money? Elliot asked finally. Noah's head snapped up. No. The denial came too fast, too wounded. I have enough, Elliot continued, hating himself even as he spoke. I can help. Quietly. Tuition. Healthcare. Whatever you need. Noah's eyes burned. I don't need your money. Elliot faced him. Everyone needs money. No, Noah said. Everyone needs someone to show up. The words landed with quiet devastation. Elliot opened his mouth, then closed it. He thought of the closed door down the hall. Of birthdays he hadn't marked because marking them would mean acknowledging the absence. I had reasons, he said softer now. Noah nodded again. Mom said that too. Did she tell you what they were? She said you were afraid of being ordinary. Elliot flinched. I think, Noah added carefully, that you were afraid of being my dad. The accusation wasn't sharp. It was honest. Elliot sank into a chair, suddenly exhausted. The room felt too bright, too clean, like a museum of a life carefully curated to avoid mess. He gestured weakly toward the couch. You can sit, he said. Noah hesitated, then slid the backpack off his shoulders and sat on the edge, posture stiff. He looked small there, swallowed by the furniture. What happens now? Noah asked. Elliot didn't answer immediately. He studied the boy's face, the slope of his nose, the familiar crease between his brows when he concentrated. Proof was written everywhere he didn't want to look. This can't be public, Elliot said. My life, my work. I know, Noah said. I won't tell anyone. That's not what I meant. Noah's shoulders sagged a fraction. Oh. Elliot leaned forward, elbows on his knees. You shouldn't have come, he said quietly. It puts you in danger. Noah blinked. From who? Elliot didn't answer. Some dangers didn't have names. After a moment, Noah reached into his backpack again. This time he pulled out the cupcake, slightly crushed now, the candle bent almost flat. I brought this for you, he said. But I think it's too late. Elliot stared at it. The absurdity of the tiny cake in his vast apartment made his throat ache. I didn't forget on purpose, Elliot said, words tumbling out before he could stop them. Forgetting is easier. Noah nodded slow. I know. That was worse than anger. That was understanding. I have to go, Noah said after a while, standing. Mrs. Alvarez worries when I'm late. Elliot stood too, panic flickering. Wait. Noah paused at the door. You can't just disappear again, Elliot said. Not after this. Noah turned, eyes bright with unshed tears. You already did, he said. The door opened. Cool hallway air rushed in, erasing the warmth Noah had brought with him. Elliot watched his son step back into the world, carrying his disappointment like something practiced. As the door closed, Elliot realized the rising truth he'd been avoiding. The hardest part wasn't losing his son. It was that his son had already learned how to live without him. The penthouse felt wrong after Noah left. Too large, too silent, as if the walls themselves were listening, waiting for Elliot to do something worthy of the space he occupied. The closed door at the end of the hall pulsed in his awareness, louder than any alarm he'd ever ignored. Elliot stood where Noah had been, staring at the empty doorway. The cupcake sat abandoned on the island, frosting smeared where small fingers had held it too tightly. One crooked candle leaned like it had already given up. For the first time in years, Elliot Cross did not know what to do next. His phone buzzed. Board member. He silenced it. Then another. His assistant, reminding him of tomorrow's press briefing. He shut the phone off completely. The quiet that followed was terrifying. Elliot moved down the hall before he could stop himself. A door. He stood in front of it, hand hovering inches from the handle. His reflection stared back from the polished surface. Older now, lines etched by choices he'd defended as necessary. "You can't keep everything locked," Lena had once said. "Some things rot in the dark." Elliot turned the handle. The door opened with a soft, unused sigh. Inside was a small room untouched by time. A bed neatly made with blue sheets. A bookshelf with children's stories. Dinosaurs, space, heroes who always came back. On the desk sat a framed photo Elliot had never thrown away. A sonogram image, grainy and unreal. Elliot collapsed onto the bed. His breath came uneven. This room had been prepared for a child who had never crossed its threshold. A promise built and abandoned. 9 years. He stood abruptly, grabbing his coat, keys, wallet. The decision came not as logic but as desperation. He was going to fix it. The city looked different from street level. Elliot drove himself, hands tight on the wheel, ignoring calls, ignoring the red lights he barely slowed for. He replayed Noah's words over and over. Everyone needs someone to show up. When he reached the address from memory, his chest tightened. The building was older than Elliot remembered. Paint peeling, stairs uneven. He took them 2 at a time, heart pounding in a way it never did during negotiations. He knocked. No answer. He knocked again, harder. The door opened a crack. Lena stood there, eyes sharp, guarded. The moment she saw him, something hardened in her face. "You have 5 seconds, she said. "I saw him," Elliot said. "Noah. He came to me." Lena laughed, bitter. "Of course he did. I didn't know it was today," Elliot said. "I swear. It's always today," she snapped. "Every year." Elliot flinched. "I want to make it right." Lena opened the door wider, letting him in just enough to hurt him. "You don't get to decide that." "Where is he?" Elliot asked. Lena hesitated. That hesitation was the crack Elliot needed to see. "At Mrs. Alvarez's," she said finally. "Crying himself to sleep, probably. Happy birthday to him." Elliot swallowed. "Let me see him." "No. I'll sign whatever you want," Elliot said. "I'll take responsibility." Lena stepped closer, voice low and lethal. "You had 9 years to do that." Elliot's shoulders sagged. "I was wrong." "Yes," she said simply. "You were." A crash sounded from the kitchen. Something dropped. Lena's face changed instantly, fear flashing across it. "What was that?" Elliot asked. Lena turned away too fast. Elliot moved past her, heart racing. The apartment was small, cluttered. A suitcase lay open on the couch. "You're leaving," Elliot said. Lena didn't answer. "Where is Noah?" Elliot demanded. Before she could respond, a shout echoed from the hallway outside. Men's voices, urgent, angry. The door rattled as something heavy hit it. Lena's face drained of color. "They found us," she whispered. Elliot turned as the door burst inward, splintering wood. 2 men in dark jackets filled the doorway, eyes cold, scanning. "Time's up," one of them said. "You owe us." Elliot stepped forward without thinking, placing himself between them and Lena. "You want money," he said. "Take it. All of it." The men laughed. "We don't want your money," the other said. "We want the kid." The words sliced through the room. Elliot felt the weight of every choice he'd ever made slam into him at once. His wealth, his distance, his absence. It had built this moment brick by brick. "No," Elliot said, voice breaking. "You're not touching my son." Lena stared at him, shocked. The men advanced. And for the first time in his life, Elliot Cross understood the cost of forgetting, because now, when he finally chose to show up, the danger had already arrived first. The hallway outside Lena's apartment was chaos. Shouting, neighbors' doors cracking open, the thud of running feet. Someone screamed. Someone else called the police. None of it mattered to Elliot in the moment that followed. What mattered was Noah. He found him at Mrs. Alvarez's place 2 floors down, huddled on a couch beneath a crocheted blanket that smelled like mothballs and cinnamon. His face was blotchy from crying, eyes swollen but dry now, like he'd run out of tears hours ago. When Noah saw Elliot, he froze. "You're not supposed to be here," Noah said quietly. Elliot knelt in front of him, ignoring the way his knees protested against the worn carpet. "I know," he said. "I'm sorry." Noah looked past him, searching for his mother. "Where's Mom?" Elliot hesitated. That hesitation told Noah everything. Sirens wailed outside, growing closer. "They took her," Elliot said. The words tasted like failure. "But I'm here. I won't leave you." Noah's mouth trembled. "You already did." The police arrived too late to stop anything that mattered. Statements were taken. Names were written down. Promises were made. Empty, procedural, rehearsed. Lena was gone. By morning, the apartment building buzzed with rumors. By afternoon, Elliot's lawyers had turned the situation into paperwork. By nightfall, Noah sat in the back seat of Elliot's car, silent, staring out the window as the city blurred past. They didn't go to the penthouse. They went to a hotel. Elliot ordered room service Noah didn't touch. He tried to talk. Noah listened without responding, eyes fixed on nothing. "You can stay with me," Elliot said eventually. "I'll keep you safe." Noah finally looked at him. "From you too." The question broke something permanent. Days passed. Lena did not come back. Authorities searched. Elliot funded everything. Private investigators, legal teams, silent bribes dressed as donations. His name opened doors that should have stayed shut. Still nothing. Noah stopped asking questions. He stopped expecting answers. On the morning of what should have been his 10th birthday, Noah sat at a small table in Elliot's temporary apartment, unwrapping a gift Elliot had chosen himself. A model rocket, expensive, perfect. Noah traced the box with his finger. "She used to sing to me," he said suddenly. "Off-key. On purpose." Elliot nodded, unable to speak. "I think," Noah continued, "if I hadn't gone to see you, they wouldn't have found her." The words weren't an accusation. They were worse. They were a conclusion. Elliot reached for him, then stopped. Some distances could no longer be crossed. Months later, Noah stood in a foster home doorway, backpack on his shoulders again. The system had decided. Elliot's past, his enemies, his power, made him a risk. "You forgot my birthday," Noah said as Elliot knelt in front of him one last time. "I know," Elliot whispered. "But you remembered me," Noah said. "That's something." He hugged Elliot then, brief, awkward, final. As Noah walked away, Elliot remained kneeling, hands empty, surrounded by everything he owned and nothing he deserved. If this story stayed with you, comment your thoughts and tell us where you're watching from. Some birthdays are remembered too late, but their echoes never fade.